All right, Mighty Mike Anchondo, thank you very much for coming on to the boxingbar.com and welcome, my friend.
Oh, thank you, Albert. Good to be on.
And every time I think of your name, Mike, I always think of, those last few times I went to the historic Olympic Auditorium there in LA. I believe it was like in 2003. I saw you a couple times there. Do you miss your boxing days when you think of those days?
Oh, that was at my one of my peak fights. One of the greatest fights of my career, and being able to perform at the Olympic Auditorium was unforgettable. And it's an honor to be included in some of the legends that were able to do the same.
What do you think are the biggest differences, especially like around your weight class from when you used to fight to today?
Albert, I'm going to tell you one thing. The respect factor was a major, major key part of my boxing career. Anytime I spoke with anyone or I dealt with the boxing community itself, it was always in a respectful manner, and I always upheld to that because I was raised with morals, and that's how I speak to individuals, how I deal with everyone is with respect, and that's one of the key components that are missing in today's active fighters.
Talking about your career and your life a little bit, you were known to be from La Puente. Is that correct?
I was known to be from La Puente. I grew up in La Puente, but I was originally from Los Angeles. Those are my old stomping grounds. Then we moved over to La Puente when I was young, and I was raised there by my grandparents, and they did a phenomenal job. I thank them. I love them. I miss them both. They both passed, and now I just got to carry on the tradition of what they've raised me with.
Everybody, when they think of LA County or LA just in itself, people think, man, that's a hard place to live in and grow up in. What was your childhood like growing up? Would you say it was a normal childhood? Was it kind of dysfunctional? How would you describe your childhood?
Not normal at all. I grew up, you got to remember, I grew up in the boxing gym. I was in the gym all the time. I was boxing since I was 5 years old. So I had the extremes my whole entire life. Being in the sport of boxing, it gives you that. You meet different individuals, colorful. I could have gone the other way, but if it wasn't for boxing, I would have. But it turned me into, a complete gentleman, I believe.
You said you grew up there, like in the gym. How did you find boxing, or how did you find the gym, or who took you there? How did that happen?
Yeah, well, my grandfather, he saw that that I had a knack when I would, get into street fights with the kids at school, and then the little fights with my cousins, and with the other family members. He saw that, and he took me. He led me to the gym. He said this kid has something. He knew that already, so he took me, and I fell in love with it. I could remember it right now when I walked into the Ballin Park Boys and Girls Club, 1987. I was 5 years old.
Did it come naturally to you, or did you have to really work at it to get good?
I would say that I just came naturally because I got many compliments, when I was a young kid. I will tell you that everything that the coaches would show me, I would learn quickly. So I guess you could say that, I was pretty good at it. If I wasn't a natural, I certainly became a technician.
What do you remember about your amateur career, like doing that?
Jeez, I remember traveling. I remember being able to be with my family and travel because I would enter tournaments, and there was most likely I would end up being in the nationals, and not most likely, but I would enter tournaments. I was in nationals a lot, and I travel. I get to travel. I get to take my family with me. I got a lot of family time when it came to being in the tournaments. As far as the boxing shows, it was a rough side of boxing and there was a soft side of boxing, and I saw both, and it helped me in all ways because I was raised, my grandfather really, my mom also. My father wasn't really in my life as much as he is now, but the boxing is what brought me up, and I could say that it's made me into the gentleman that I am today.
Looking back at your amateur career, did you find a lot of guys that later became world champions in the pros? Did you fight like a lot of those in the amateurs?
You know, I can't name them right off the top of my head, but I've gotten to the ring. I stepped into the ring. I sparred with a lot of world champions. I sparred with a lot of class act individuals, legends. You know, name dropping Carlos Hernandez, Chicanito Hernandez, Carlos Baldomir, Diego Corrales, all the Santa Cruzes.
Wow.
Santa,
Armando and all of
yeah,
yeah,
Armando. Armando's my boy. He's my friend.
yeah, he's a
Uh,
cool dude.
yeah, real cool, real nice guy. Urbano and I used to get into it. Edwin Valero,
Really?
Ponce.
Wow.
Gosh, those that's just off the top of my head. There's a lot more. There's older fighters who I fought, who I sparred when I was coming up in the ranks, not actually when I was world champion or when I was when I was a contender. So that those are just to name a few.
Yeah.
That's just a little taste of who I got in the ring with.
What do you remember about your pro debut on May 6, 2000 against Ramon Ortiz there at the Fantasy Springs Casino in Indio, California? What do you remember about that first outing as a pro going through the drapes that night?
You know, anytime someone brings up my first pro fight, the only thing that I can remember is being waiting in the tent because we were on standby. We are gonna be a TV fight if the other fights fell through or whatever. So I was on standby, and all I remember was saying to myself, "Okay, let's go." Like there's no turning back now. And I remember being in that small tent and sweating my what off, but you know what? It helped warm me up. As soon as they said, "Okay, it's go time," I went and I did my thing. I had a fourth, I believe it was a fourth round knockout, wasn't it?
Correct.
Kid was tough. Man was tough. He came to fight. We went all 4 rounds, but we put on a show, and I got the knockout in the end. It was great. It was a great experience for me for my first time.
How did you get the name Mighty Mike?
My mom named it. My
Yeah.
mom came up with that name. I love my mom. She's still here, and you know what? If we could put that in, because I want my mom to know that if it wasn't for her being able to cheer me on and to be the energy that she was, then there wouldn't be no Mighty Mike. And I want her to know that.
For your next several fights, you would win all, like almost all by knockout. You were known as like a local action fighter at that time, and everybody kind of
Uh huh.
expected you to knock the person out, after a while. Was it hard to stick to that game plan because you were probably trying to please the crowd, but at the same time trying to get your victory? Was it kind of like extra
I,
pressure to try to get that knockout because that's what was expected of you?
Albert, that's a great question because a lot of fighters nowadays are pressured to do that, But let me tell you, the knockouts that I had, I didn't search them. I didn't go and say, "Oh, I want to knock this guy out." It just happened. See, that's one thing that a lot of people think that, "Oh, he's a knockout artist and blah 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 blah." No, it just came to, and it happened. With the fan base that I had in the early moments of my career, I will say that once the crowd got involved, then it was a different energy.
I remember on one of the fights that I saw you there at the Olympic, like we were talking about earlier, walking
So
through
it
that
seems,
tunnel, where all the legendary fighters would fight. They always talked about the tunnel there at the Olympic Auditorium. What do you remember
Oh
about?
yeah.
What do you remember about the actual walking through that arena that from back in the day?
Albert, I remember, during history class when they had tried to describe how the gladiators in the medieval times would prepare and what they would do and walk through the tunnels from the where they're warming up to the actual, main stage. It felt like a modern day gladiator walking through those tunnels.
I had Carlos Palomino on a couple months back, and he pretty much described it the exact same way. And I believe it. It just has that old school feel, just being in there. You know
Yep.
what I mean?
Let me tell you, there was a spot, right? There was a spot where all the stars, Ali, Joe Frazier, I believe, the Beatles, Kiss, legends, legendary entertainers. There was a spot in the back, in the very back, where they all signed their name. I saw it. I saw it. I don't know where that. I know that they cut it out or whatever. I don't know where it's at now, but there was a spot, and I'm so happy to say that I'm part of that
Oh, wow.
legendary piece. Yeah, I
Wow.
was able to sign that, and that to me, that's pretty awesome. I
Yeah.
see that's small things like that, Albert, are what I adore about my career. The championship, great. Being on TV and all that, great. The fans, the signing autographs, that's great too. But small things like that are highlights of my career.
And talking about your championship shot, July 15, 2004, you get your shot against Julio Pablo Chacon in Dallas, Texas for the WBO World Super Featherweight title. What do you
That's
remember
right.
about getting this opportunity? You know, when you first got the news, hey, you're going to fight for the world title, your dream shot. Well, how did you feel about that when you first heard about it?
In the most subtle, not bragging type of way, I said to myself, finally, because I know that if I worked hard and I do what I do, I'm gonna get that shot, and I did because I earned it. And whenever you do some, outside of the ring, you know this, Albert. When you do some outside of the ring, when you work hard, whatever you do, in front of people and showing them that you're working and it's usually in front of a boss. You get paid for it. In society, it's money, but to me, that was my money. Being able to get that title, that was my like okay, now my dues have been paid. Now it's time for me to reap the benefits, and reaping the benefits was fighting for the championship.
And he was known as a tough fighter. Did he live up to that during this fight with you?
No doubt, no doubt, no doubt. Let me tell you, I was in the best shape of my life. Blah blah blah. You know what I mean? In that type of sense, where I knew that's why I was able to put on the boxing match that I did put on was because I took it 100%. I said this is my time to shine. I knew that he was gonna bring it too. Come on, Albert, 50 wins, 50 to wins, 5 losses,
Yeah,
35 knockouts. I don't care how much you weigh when you do it. You're
yeah,
still gonna bring all that up to where you're at.
very
Yeah.
true.
So I knew that this guy was dangerous, dangerous, and he caught me. He caught me with some good shots. You know what? But ultimately, I wanted to, the 12th round. I said, "This is it," and I dropped him the 12th round. But I wasn't able to put him out. I wanted to. I wanted to put him out. But he was tough. He was a tough. He was a former world champion.
Yep.
Come on, a former world champion is not going to say, "All right, I'm going to stay down." No, I'm going to get back up. Let's go.
When they yell your name, the new world champion, what were the first thoughts that came through your mind?
Wow. Um, the first thoughts, Jace, if I could remember, I'd say I did it. I did it because remember I told you prior to that, I was saying, "Let's go. I'm almost there." Leading up to it, climbing that ladder, I'd always have that notion in my mind that it's gonna be a battle. You know that there's gonna be a lot of people that are not gonna want you to do it, but you're gonna do it. You know you're gonna do it. That's it. And that's kind of how my career has been.
Yeah.
Where a lot of people, because of what they think they know about me, um, compared to what the people who do know me, that's what it's been like. Because people just they assume, and that's not right. That's not fair. That's life, I guess.
And I remember during this time, and like the fights at the Olympic Auditorium, it was under the Boxeo de Oro, I think De La Hoya's promotion. And that was when that company was pretty new. What was that like working under that banner of Oscar De La Hoya?
Oh, it was phenomenal. I mean, to be able to showcase my talent on a live feed broadcast worldwide. Come on, that's the main stage right there. So it was a great opportunity, and I do nothing but thank him for that, for giving me that platform to showcasing my talent on nationwide TV, worldwide TV.
Yeah.
You know, and I did what I wanted to do, Albert. I entertained. I had so many people come up to me afterward, after every fight, and applaud me, thank me, and just greet me. And like I said, it wasn't the crazy, crazy fan base that you see some of these guys get when they're on TV or when they get the light shine on them. It was just a human saying hello to another human. That's it, man. You know, and we talked just the way we're talking now. I mean, you're interviewing me, but we talked just like this. You know, wasn't crazy or anything like that, which is fine. I love it. You know.
And he was from LA too, just like you, so he probably understood you.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, most definitely. You know, over here, man, we're just laid back in LA, man. This is a laid back city here.
Your very next fight, they put you to defend the title against a tough dude named Jorge Barrios. Barrios was he was a terrific fighter. He had fought Acelino Freitas but lost 20 months before. He won 3 fights before his fight with you to redeem himself. What did you think of that news when you were going to fight, this crazy Argentine Barrios that you were going to defend your title for the first time?
I wasn't afraid of Barrios at all, or anything that I was going to go up against him. I was afraid of the time that was taken away from me, that I was dealing with the business side of boxing. And that's why I hadn't been in the ring in over a year. If you look at when I won the fight to when I fought Barrios, it was what, a year, something like that.
Yeah.
Correct? It was a long time. There was so much that I was going through. It was just too much time away. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to be that. I wanted to get right back into it. I wanted to continue my reign as champion, and that was taken away from me. I believe that was taken away from me by whatever, But I think that if I had gone, a couple months after I won the championship, it would have been a totally different story.
And you lost the title on the scales though that night, didn't you? Did you see that coming?
Yep.
Did you see that coming days before or weeks before, whatever it might have been?
You know what, Albert? There's a time when, okay, here's the thing. I was a wrestler in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I wrestled for Bishop Amat. I believe I may have told you that. Well, I wrestled for them, and if you don't know, wrestlers can cut weight. I learned from wrestling to cut weight. So I was cutting weight, and plus, there was always been issues in my past boxing. In my amateur days when I had little weight cutting issues or whatever. There were times when I didn't do it correctly, or I wouldn't cut weight correctly. I didn't understand how to do that. So when that happened, I had a nutritionist that was supposed to be on me all the time. And I'm not going to point fingers because it was my fault that I didn't get to that weight. It was my fault. And it was my fault that, that I missed weight that way. But I will say that he didn't help by not doing his job correctly. Let's just say that.
And I saw that fight not too long ago, and it was in a smaller venue at a gaming resort in Miami, I think. But even though it was like a small place, it seemed like it was like a crazy audience there with all the Argentines, singing for him and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
You were undefeated, going in at 25-0. Like I said, most of them by knockout. What do you remember about the crowd? Did that bother you at all?
Now, let me tell you, Albert, I was so out of it, and I was so far gone by the weight loss that I had suffered, and just the things that I'm not sure what they had given me. They try to bring different solutions to the problem, and none of them worked. But that in turn hurt me as well mentally, and of course physically as well. But I was so out of it, Albert, that it's so difficult for me to flash back and say what I remember about it. I mean, I don't remember, I was so out of it. Yeah. I was sleeping in the dressing room. Wow. I was asleep. Yeah. I wasn't up and at 'em. I was just out of it. My body was done. I could, the Mighty Mike that you remember seeing on TV, the highlight reel, they could have played that, and the guy who went in there, they would have said that I was an imposter. I was a different person because I wasn't myself. I wasn't. I can honestly say that I don't know what happened to my strength. It just left. My body, everything was gone.
But you guys,
And that's what I remember. I remember being in deep water without being able knowing how to swim.
even at that though, Mike, to your credit, I mean, you didn't hold back from the opening bell. You guys went at it, the whole
I said,
distance,
if we're gonna do something, we're gonna do it now.
yeah,
And I started on it. And you know what? I didn't go out. I went down fighting, so to
yeah.
speak. You know.
And at the end of the third round, I think it was, you were knocked down, and then you got up, right before the bell rang. Were you hurt going back to like the corner?
Yeah, I was. I wasn't hurt the way that he hit me. I was just hurt, period. And the crawling and all that around the ring and all that, both significant to the situation, and it was also, showing that I was genuinely hurt.
Yeah,
But it was significant to the situation. Like, there's so many articles out there that have Mighty Mike reduced to crawling on the ring and all fours and this and that, like poking at me, and that's fine. Everybody needs a highlight reel, and everybody needs a title for the highlight reel, so they're gonna say that. But you know what? I honestly, I had to gain myself. I had to pick myself back up. And that's why I resorted to crawling on the canvas. But you know what? It's something that again, it was significant for the situation, I believe.
yeah. And I think hit you behind the head or something, like when you had gone down, before you started, crawling to the ring or around the ring, and then the referee stopped in and took away 2 points from him.
Yeah,
But at
that's
that
odd.
but at that moment, your trainer Buddy McGurry, he came in to stop the fight. What were your thoughts of the stoppage? Were you like upset about it? Were you like cool with it? What did you think of that?
Yeah, I was. It was kind of like, shoot, well, that's the way it goes. I mean, finally, it's kind of like, because I was in trouble. I was in trouble. I'm not gonna lie about that.
Yeah,
I mean, come on, I was in trouble walking into the ring.
yeah, that's
I
true.
was in trouble. I was in trouble walking into the resort. I was in trouble going to that fight. Period. Wait, going to the weigh-ins. I was in trouble. I was in trouble all that time. So that was the cherry on top of my whole situation. That was it right there. When he walked into the ring, it was like, well, I did everything that I could. Come on, I could have easily said, no, I can't fight. That's it. And that all that wouldn't have been real.
Yeah,
I could have just said, all right, I'm overweight and I can't go on. And I could have quit right there and just went home. You have my title. No big deal. But I said, no, I'm going to do it because I got people that are expecting me to go on and are expecting me to do something. I'm just going to go. So I myself built up enough energy and everything. I mean, I was sleeping in the dressing room. So that's how much energy I had leading up to the fight. Even after I dropped so much and I couldn't anymore, even after I was, draining in the sauna, even after I could barely eat, I could barely eat, even though I was already done with the weigh-ins. I didn't even want to eat. I just wanted to drink water. I was so out of it.
oh,
Yeah. So all of that whole fight was just a sign for me to say, okay, guys, it was for the people. It wasn't for me at all. Because like I said, I didn't need to do all that. I didn't need to go in there, but I did. I said, you know what? I gained the championship. Now I got to go in. I got to do it. I'm gonna have to. I'm about to stay on my feet. No big deal. You know. You know what? I resorted to the man's way. You know that, Albert? Because I could have easily copped out and said blah blah blah. It's because this and this or whatever. But I made my bed. As
yeah.
far as everything else that led up to it. So I had to literally, lay in
Yeah.
it.
Well, you did what a champion, should do, is defend, whoever he's supposed to, regardless of what.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, exactly.
So
And you know what? Again, like you said, the first round there was some pep, and I did, but then it was out after that. I don't know what happened. My body just gave in. My body finally said, "Okay, you want to treat me the way you're treating me? I'm going to treat you the same."
you come back and you fight two more fights after that, get 2 wins there, and then you fight a guy named Darlene Jimenez, which I remember when I saw that you had lost that fight and then by KO, it was like, wait, that's Mighty Mike though. This other guy, he was what 22 2-2, and
Yeah,
what do you remember about that fight with Darlene Jimenez there in Washington? It was April 27th of 2007.
yeah, yeah. I remember. You know what? I had been away for a little bit. I came back. Um, there was some incidents in Florida. I was staying in Florida at the time, and there was some incidents in Florida where the trainer who I had, we didn't mesh. So I said, well, just I got to go back home. You're wasting my time. I don't want to waste your money anymore. We're just not doing it. Let's just so they called it off. They said, okay, we're gonna bring you back. Then we're gonna come over here. And I said, okay. That's when I fought. I fought for Roy Engelbert, I believe. It was at the Marriott.
Yeah,
And then that's what led up to my next fight, which was in Washington, D.C. It was against Darling Jimenez. And it wasn't me because, again, all this time, I think it was even after winning the championship, Albert, it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. Now, mind you, okay, it was a spoiled mentality to think that everybody's going to be, they're going to stop at my peck and call. And I didn't expect that. What I did expect, though, was a little more love. Albert, a little more love. And it was no love at all. No love at all. It seemed as if I went against the grain and I won the championship. So what brings me back to that is that's kind of what led me to what happened with Darling Jimenez. Still no love. Still trying to find my spot in the boxing world. And it was coming back from a world championship loss, but it seemed as if this was like a build-up fight. It was like I was just starting over again. So to go up against, Jimenez, my mentality, my work, everything was, I don't know. It wasn't there. It wasn't there. Whatever. He caught me, broke my freaking jaw. He broke my jaw. He caught me with a good left hook. And that was kind of like summed up my career at that point.
you only fought four more times before you hung him up, but your second to the last time, you actually fought Mauricio Herrera and gave him his first loss there. What do you remember about that fight
Yeah.
with tough guy Mauricio Herrera?
Yeah, yeah. I took that fight 2 weeks notice. And that fight there, they said, there's this kid who's undefeated, fight on Showtime, give you X amount of money, whatever. And I said, huh, undefeated, huh? Cool, Showtime, awesome, let's go. Now here's the thing, Albert. If you haven't got to know me already, I love this. I love the spotlight. I love the spotlight. I love it. Now let me tell you, but only when I deserve it, though. If I don't deserve it, I'm not gonna go and I'm not gonna. Oh, look at me, look at me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. Only when I deserve it. That's when I love it. But if I don't deserve it, then I don't want it. So it's only right, right?
Yeah.
I'm not like I'm not an attention whore. You know what I mean? Yeah, because I do love the spotlight, but when the time is due,
You had one more fight after that against Freddie Hernandez and lost that one. Freddie Hernandez is a very tough guy. He was 28-1 going in. We saw him a lot. I think it was on Solo Boxeo. What do you remember about your very last fight there against Freddie Hernandez?
Again, I took that fight, pretty quick notice. It was after I had fought this kid in Albany. I guess, he had some people watching me and they said, Mike's done. Let's get him where we can. So I fought this kid. And it was the best showcase at all that I had. It was one of my worst fights of my career. And only because I didn't take that fight serious as well. Again, Albert, it got boring to me. It got boring to me. All the waiting and while this, while that, no sense of direction, no sense of security. And I don't boxing is not a secure sport. The business of it. And I don't expect you to be secure about it. I'm just saying, there got to be some direction. There was no direction. And it's like, who cares? I fought this kid, Narvaez, the fight before that, and I didn't even train. There was no love. There was nothing. I swear, I trained like maybe the last week. And if you see, My weight, I was 147 or something like that. Or 149. 149 for that fight. Again, no excuses. When I complain about I don't want you to put it as an excuse because I'm not making excuses. I got into that. They offered me some money. They said, okay, we got Freddie Hernandez. At that time, he was at 28, one loss. I was like, yeah, whatever, let's go. I didn't care. I was kind of getting used to it. I said, okay, the tides will turn. I'm gonna have to fight, contenders now or actual, possible champions, whatever, And I did. I took it.
Yeah.
I took it. I said, all right, let's go. That's just how it is. That's how my career. That's the end of that stage of my career. You know what, Albert? I'm a showman. I'm a showman. I was born a showman. I love the cameras. I remember my uncle and aunt they were the first family members to have VHS tape recorders,
Yeah.
the cameras, the VHS cameras, and I used to be such a ham in front of them. I loved it so much. My uncle Vic and my aunt Lil had a VHS tape recorder, and whenever they bring it over, I'd be to swim, for show us swimming and all that, and I would ham in front of them. I would be a ham in front of the VHS recorders because that's just what I was. I was a showman. I was a ham.
You did selfies before they had selfies, I guess.
Exactly. Hey, you know what? If you are we friends on Instagram?
I think so. I'll double check, but I think so.
Facebook maybe.
One of
Friend
them.
me on Instagram.
Okay.
Friend me on Instagram, but friend me on Facebook too. And you're gonna see in my photos, there's one of them that I took a selfie, and that was in Miami, Florida, in 2005.
After your last fight, did you know right away, like, all right, man, it's time to hang him up, or did you have to think about it, or how did that go?
I don't know. I didn't care. Albert, I didn't really care about that. I said, I really just was at a point where I was like, okay, what next now? Like, I didn't soak in it, is what I'm saying. It didn't hit me to the point where I was, oh, wow, oh, I came to this point and what do I do next? Blah, blah, blah. No, I just said, okay, well, if I'm not going to go back and fight right away, then I got to get a job. So it wasn't very difficult for me. It wasn't like, a big old dramatic ending or whatever. It was just kind of like, well, I took on real life and I got a job and I got a job right there. I was a car salesman for Mitsubishi, Puente Hills Mitsubishi, and I was the car salesman of the month 2007. You'll see that, and of July of 2007. And I was I worked at Home Depot. I worked construction. And then I started volunteering my spot at the Jerry Ortiz Boxing Club. Now Jerry Ortiz was my friend, and he was killed in the line of duty about a week after my championship loss. He was killed. So I went back, and to repay our friendship, I wanted to volunteer my time. So I did there for about 2 years. I volunteered my time there at the gym, and I was there.
You know how you said you got to meet a lot of people, because of, who you were, and you were always on TV, and you having the success that you did in the sport. During those years of your career, did you like go out a lot and party a lot and have fun?
Well, okay, here's the thing. I partied and had fun. Here's the thing. My career, the highlight of my career did not entail me to go party and do all that stuff. I did all the partying and all that stuff before I was even in the spotlight.
Okay.
So it was supersized when it came to professional boxing and the whole going out, the nightlife, and I'm not gonna say that I didn't, because that would be lying. And I got to do all that, and it was just another part of being in the spotlight, so to say. I don't regret it. I did what I did, but that just comes with it, I guess. There's some stories that I can't tell online on this interview, but I will say that it was very, very colorful.
at, at the beginning of the interview, I asked you what are the biggest differences, from boxing in your time to today. But like, how would you change a sport to make it better if it were up to you? If it was put on your lap to change boxing today, how do you think it
uh,
would be better?
I would unionize the sport. I would unionize the sport to a certain degree. Meaning, once you reach the championship level, then that's hands off. That's kind of like laissez-faire. You know what I mean? Up until then, though, you have to be guided. You have to be there has to be like a committee or a certain.
How are you involved in boxing, or are you still involved in boxing today?
Well, again, I'm raising young champions as far as when the kids come in, trying to teach them with my fellow comrade Joey Olivo, who was my former amateur trainer. Again, like I said, I jumped on the opportunity when the position was open, and that's kind of what I am doing now.
I always like to ask a few random questions just for fun. So let me throw some at you here.
Come at me, bro.
All-time favorite movie.
All-time favorite movie. Oh my gosh. Okay, it's a tie because I have two favorite movies.
That's cool.
Okay? Bronx Tale, my favorite movie 1A, and see, you put me on the spotlight right now, and that totally got me all disheveled. Got me disheveled right now, and I can't think out. I'll come back to that one. Come back to that one. Go ahead.
Favorite cartoon.
I love The Simpsons. That's always an all-time favorite. Yeah, I'd say Simpsons.
I thought you were gonna say like Mighty Mouse or something, but
oh gosh, get out of here, Albert.
Favorite music artist.
I want to say Juicy J. Bad dude.
Right.
Juicy J's bad, man. The bad dude.
Favorite food.
I love Chinese food, man.
Favorite sport besides boxing.
I like football, man. I like football.
Favorite comedian.
George Lopez. Oh no. George Lopez is my favorite, all-time favorite. You know he is.
Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy.
You just named him right now. Richard Pryor, that's my favorite.
Yeah.
That's my all-time favorite.
And last one, what's your favorite place to go to when you want to think?
Oh gosh, I gotta go far because I don't think too much. Nah, I'm just kidding. I just like Disneyland, bro. I love Disneyland, bro. Yeah, really. I think it out. Disneyland, bro.
Yeah.
I go to Disneyland, man, and it's just like so cool.
Yeah.
So tranquil.
You're a young man. You're going to be around for another 100 years, but
That's right.
When it's all said and done, how do you want what I call the 3 big F's to remember you? Your friends, your family, your fans. How do you want to be remembered to them once it's all said and done?
Jeez. You want me to write my obituary on me? Gosh, unbelievable. He was a man who lived. He was a man who lived. He was a man who loved. And he was a man who enjoyed life. A man who lived, loved, and enjoyed life. Shit, that's a good one, man.
That's actually a very good one. Yeah.
A man who lived, loved, and what did I say? A man who, you know what?
And enjoyed life.
All that shit comes off the top of my dome. Because it's from the heart.
Yeah.
I speak from the heart, Albert. That's why.
Probably one of the best answers I got. I always ask people that. And it's probably one of the best ones, actually, and it's short. You know what I mean? And it's right to the point.
It's a man who lived, loved,
and enjoyed
life. That's the best, man. Albert, that's the fine lines of living it. That's the fine lines. You got to enjoy it, you got to love it, and you got to live it, man.
Brief and to the point. Well,
that's
Mighty
it.
Mike, thank you very much for coming on, my brother, and sharing all this time and letting us know about yourself, your career, and putting a smile on my face. Like I said at the beginning, that I remember you from those days when I used to really enjoy going to watch fights back in the day in LA. And, at that time, it was a lot of great fighters and a lot of fun fighters to watch like you, and I appreciate it.
Makes me very happy, Albert, that I'm able to be included in that group of great fighters, I appreciate it, and it's something that I've worked very hard my whole entire life.